Using Whippy bars and bumper plates is absolutely not a legitimate representation of people's deadlift strength. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. And again, I'm saying this as someone who you guys have seen. You have seen me pull on a stiff bar, right? A Texas power bar with calibrated plates. You guys have seen me pull 635 before. My last powerlifting meet, I was up in the 580s for a state record, missed a 619. Again, all competition type equipment in my late 40s. So again, I'm a decent deadlifter. I do know a little bit about this. I have coached, obviously, lifters with 700 plus pound deadlifts, which you guys have seen on camera. I know a little bit about deadlifts and leverages. So when it comes to this, and we get into sumo and straps, that's a whole different ballgame. But when it comes to just the bars, I see this a lot. I see it a lot in reels, so Facebook reels, Instagram reels, a little bit in shorts. But people are trying to pass this off as real lifts, and they're like, oh, look, I finally got my 505 deadlift, and they have a big audience. And here's the thing, guys. It would be one thing if you're just a regular Joe with no audience and you're happy because maybe you set it as a goal. But when you're putting it up to a big audience, you have 50,000 followers and you're using this to try to grow your audience. This is right up there with using Photoshop. And it really is because it's fake. It's fake. And what do I mean? Well, what I mean is the average guy who, if you pull, depending upon where your weaknesses are. Okay, if you're taking a really whippy bar and bumper plates, you may be getting, if you pull 500 with it, your real deadlift is probably in the 450 to 470 range, if it's a conventional. And I'm seeing guys do this all wrapped up like mummies, like sleeves on their elbows, sleeves on their knee. They're just like all wrapped up, which again, ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I get it if you want to wear a belt. Okay, cool, no problem, man. Belts are a normal part of deadlifting, but when you start throwing all this other stuff on, you're just wrapped up like a mummy. And then you got to question what's going on with your tendons and like, why are you so beat up? To walk in and do a 500 or a 600 deadlift, you need to be wrapped up. All right? But I digress, back over to the point. They're getting a lot of carryover, and it's because it is popping the weight off the floor easy. And people will say, well, but once the weight is moving, it's moving. It's like, okay, but apply that to every other lift. If you unloaded 100 pounds out of the weight out of the bottom of a squat, the first few inches, could you squat a lot more? People say, well, yeah. So if you went to do a squat and when you hit an inch above parallel, you unloaded 100 pounds off of it all the way down to your depth, and then you come up and the weight doesn't hit until you're already back above parallel. Would you squat more? Yes. How about your bench press? If you took your bench press and on your way down to your chest, let's say you ran a 2-board. How many of you out there could do a 2-board on the bench press, like on a board press, compress it into the 2-board, and then bench more than you bench? How many of you could probably take your 1-rep max and do 5 reps with it? I'm going to venture to say a whole lot of you could. So why is anyone not understanding the same thing applies to your deadlift, particularly given getting the weight moving is oftentimes the hardest part. You got to get it moving, okay? People are getting a lot out of it. Now, when it comes to strapping up on sumos, this gets exacerbated even more quickly. People say, well, I don't understand. I've brought that up before, and then people say, well, that doesn't make sense. Like 2 reasons. Number 1, you don't have to worry about grip at all, okay? If you're strapped up, we're not fighting grip. So if you are able to lift a weight that is much heavier than your real max, your grip is not going to give out. So that's kind of an important consideration. It also matters for your bracing. Sumos get a lot out of being able to brace in differently. So strapping in lets you brace in kind of in a different way. helps you get more pop out of the bottom. But the main thing is, so let's say your max grip is 550 and you strap up and you're able to do a partial with a Sumo with 650 and your grip is not even close to giving out. You're going to lift a lot more weight. Okay? Plus it changes the neural drive, everything else. So if you grind, so normally when you're dealing with these Whippy bars, when they start to shimmy and bounce, you lose your grip also. Okay, the straps eliminate that. All right, so then what's going on then with Sumo in this? Sumo tends to be even more limited by coming out of the bottom. It's also a partial. So, and I'm not saying that everyone is stronger at Sumo, we know they're not, but it is a reduced range of motion. Okay? Everyone understands that. So what happens when you take the already reduced range of motion lift and you're able to unload another 100 pounds, 150 pounds out of the first 5 or 6 inches? All right, so when you see these guys doing these Sumos with really Whippy bars and bumper plates and all this, a lot of times, particularly if they're slightly shorter lifter, look how short the range of motion is. It is basically an above the knee rack pull almost compared to a conventional. So what we'll routinely see, and I've seen examples of someone who I've seen their real competition deadlift, okay? All right, pretty famous Instagrammer and Facebooker in the little fitness sphere. They're the one whose competition deadlift is like 485, right? So 220 kilos, right? Who has got on camera and pulled using this setup, Sumo bumpers, Whippy bar straps, has pulled over 600 pounds. He's pulled like 630, 640. But he's never been able to hit a 500 in a competition. Do we see where we're going with this? And I'm not saying sometimes our gym lifts aren't better, because sometimes we're not at our best at a meet. We are fatigued from squats. You know, even me, I mean, I'm a perfect example. My last meet, because I hit a state record squat, and then I got stapled on my third attempt on a bench, I was tired a little bit when I went into my deadlift, and I missed my 619. Right? It was all on camera. Everyone saw it. It was fast off the floor. I just ran out of steam. But my lift before that, which was a state record, was really easy, and I set it down easy, under control. Everything felt good. But I went up 44 pounds, 20 kilograms. And yeah, I couldn't lock it. So it does happen. But we're talking enormous disparities, okay? Because that was still over 600 pounds, and I still got it to my knee. I'm talking, again, cases of guys with a 490 deadlift pulling 600 pounds with this sort of setup on camera, okay? That's fake. And it's not real, guys. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.